Mathematics is often seen as numbers, formulas, and equations, something we only encounter inside the classroom. But in reality, mathematics exists far beyond textbooks.
It is present in the patterns we walk on, the designs we wear, and the structures we see every day. From simple arrangement of shapes to complex designs, mathematics quietly shape the world around us.
One of the most visible forms of mathematics in real life is geometry, the study of shapes, lines, and patterns. Through geometry, we begin to understand how designs are formed and why they appear balanced and organized.
These patterns are not random. They follow specific movements called isometries, transformations that preserve size and shape. These include translation, where patterns repeat, reflection, where designs mirror each other, and rotation, where shapes turn around a point.
This documentary explores how geometry, especially isometries, shapes Filipino culture and modern science. It shows that shapes, patterns, and transformations are not just mathematical concepts, but an essential element in art, identity, and everyday living.
Geometric designs have influenced the way we perceive beauty. As people, we tend to judge things based on the standards we believe in, and this often includes balance and symmetry. When we encounter things that do not follow these principles, we form different opinions about them because we are so accustomed to seeing perfection in balance and symmetrical designs, artworks, and many other aspects of life.
These geometric designs may go unnoticed by some, but little do we realize that balance and symmetry are deeply ingrained in our minds, shaping how we perceive beauty in our surroundings. Our surroundings are, in many ways, a result of these geometric principles, each contributing to a sense of harmony in the world around us. The design appears vibrant and complex, but a closer look shows it is made from simple, repeated patterns. Zigzag and continuous lines form geometric shapes like diamonds, which repeat to create symmetry and balance. These observed patterns connect to formal mathematical concepts such as oscillation and symmetry. The design shows translation, where shapes are repeated across the textile, and reflection, where the pattern mirrors itself. These transformations preserve the shape and size of the figures, maintaining consistency throughout the design. Together, these elements and transformations create a harmonious and visually appealing composition.
Geometric designs are not only man-made. Many are inspired by nature. A butterfly's wings shows bilateral symmetry, where the left and the right sides mirror each other. They also contain shapes like diamonds, curves, and circular spots arranged in repeating patterns. These observed patterns relate to formal mathematical concepts such as symmetry and patterning and geometry. The design demonstrates transformation and like reflection and translation. These transformations preserve the shape and size of the patterns, creating balance and visual harmony even in natural forms.
The design features symmetry, repetition, and organic shapes such as vines, quills, and floral patterns that create rhythm, movement, and visual continuity throughout the composition. These elements give the overall design a balanced and harmonious appearance. The arrangement of the patterns naturally reflects geometric transformations such as reflections, translations, and rotations. These transformations can be observed in how shapes are mirrored, repeated, and arranged around the central points. As rigid motions in geometry, they preserve both shape and size even as the design shifts and develops across the surface. Because of this, the entire composition maintains consistency and visual unity while still appearing dynamic and fluid.
Bayong or banig bags are popular in the Philippines because of their practicality, but their design is just as significant as their function. These woven bags display geometric elements such as tessellation through crisscross patterns, diamond shapes, and parallel lines that create a sense of symmetry and order. These patterns can be linked to a formal geometric concepts, particularly transformations like translation and reflection, which explain how the designs repeat and remain balanced across the surface. As rigid motions, these transformations preserve the shape and size of woven elements, maintaining uniformity throughout the structure. Through this process, simple natural materials are organized into consistent, structured, and visually harmonious design.
The copies show windows from the Bahay na Bato use squares and rectangles arranged in a grid, creating symmetry, repetition, and a structured pattern. These features connect to geometry, where the design is explained through transformations such as translation and reflection. Translation is seen in the repeated arrangement of identical panels, while reflection appears in the mirrored balance of the design. These are rigid motions in mathematics, meaning they preserve both shape and size, even as elements are moved or flipped. Because of this, the window design maintains exact uniformity and geometric order.
The geometric designs we often see may look like simple shapes arranged into patterns, but in Filipino culture, they carry deeper meaning. These designs are not just for decoration. They are a form of art and a reflection of tradition, identity, and craftsmanship passed down through generations. One clear example of this is the banig or bayung bag, which is commonly used in everyday life.
When we observe its design, we can identify several geometric elements such as grid patterns, zigzags, diamond shapes, crisscross or interlacing lines, and tessellation or repeating patterns. At first glance, this may seem purely visual, but each one represents something meaningful in Filipino culture.
Grid patterns symbolize order and unity, showing how communities are organized and connected. Diamond shapes represent strength and cultural identity, reflecting the importance of unity among people. Zigzag patterns are inspired by nature, such as mountains, rivers, or waves, showing the strong connections of Filipinos to their environment.
Crisscross or interlacing lines symbolize cooperation and interconnectedness, much like the Filipino value of helping one another. Meanwhile, tessellation represents continuity and tradition, showing how knowledge and skills in weaving are passed from one generation to another.
In the end, these patterns are not just decorative. They tell stories about Filipino life, values, and traditions, showing a strong connection between geometry and culture.
The patterns we chose to use are repeating diamond shapes, cross-like motifs, and a clear grid structure that is arranged in a balanced and symmetrical layout. These geometric elements are not just decorative. They reflect important Filipino values. The diamond shapes can symbolize strength and unity, showing how individuals come together as one community. The cross-like patterns may represent harmony and balance, often seen in traditional Filipino designs. Meanwhile, the grid structures reflect order and organization, similar to how communities are structured and connected. The use of crisscross weaving in the design highlights the Filipino value of bayanihan, or cooperation, where different elements are interlaced to form a strong and unified whole. This mirrors how people work together in real life to build something meaningful. Geometric transformations are also clearly present. The repeated patterns show translation, where a single design is copied across the surface. The balanced layout shows reflection, as parts of the design mirror each other. There is also a sense of rotation in how the shapes are arranged around the central points. These are all rigid motions, meaning the shapes keep their size and form, just like how traditional patterns are carefully preserved preserved through generations. Altogether, the design shows Filipino artisans use mathematical ideas, like symmetry and transformation, not just to create patterns, but to express culture, identity, and shared values through their craft. Geometric design is relevant in the modern world because it is widely used in many fields that shape how we live, work, and create. In architecture, geometry helps designers and engineers build stable and visually appealing structures like buildings, bridges, and public spaces. Shapes, angles, and patterns are used to ensure both strength and beauty. In fashion, geometric patterns influence clothing designs, prints, and accessories, helping create modern and stylish looks. In digital design and technology, geometry is essential in creating graphics, animations, video games, and even virtual reality environments. Everything you see on a screen is built using geometric concepts. It is also important in engineering and product design, where precise measurements and shapes are needed to create functional and efficient tools, machines, and devices.
Overall, geometric designs connect traditional patterns with modern innovations, showing that mathematics is not just theoretical, but a practical tool that continues to influence creativity and development in today's world.
Geometry is not just a subject in mathematics. We are living in it every day. From the clothes we wear, to the houses we live in, and even the products we use and enjoy. Geometry is always around us. But most importantly, many of these geometric patterns are deeply rooted and engraved Filipino culture.
These geometric designs were used as a form of expression, reflecting artistry and the way of life. They are not just simple or basic shapes. They represent the people's environment, beliefs, and experiences. Each pattern carries meaning, often inspired by nature, traditions, and the community's daily life. In this way, geometry becomes more than just design. It becomes a reflection of identity and culture.
As we observe these designs in artworks, textiles, architecture, and even in our surrounding, we begin to realize how geometry has influenced and shaped our way of living. Every design tells a story. Stories of creativity, heritage, and connection to the world around us. Isn't it amazing? This reminds us that mathematics is not limited to solving numbers or equations inside the classroom. It is also meaningful, creative, and impressive. In fact, mathematics can be seen as an art form itself.
Without mathematical concepts like geometry, many of the structures, artwork, and designs we admire today would not exist. It plays a vital role in shaping architecture, cultural crafts, and modern innovation. Most importantly, it connects us to our culture and helps us understand how people express themselves through patterns and designs.
Ultimately, mathematics is not just something we study. It is something we live with, experience, and see in the beauty of everyday life.